Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Julie Chrisley coming home early, extreme possibility. It looks like Chrisley knows best. Alum Julie Chrisley's early release from prison is an extreme possibility. She is currently serving 7 years in a Kentucky Federal Medical Center. So far, her sentence has been shortened by a little over a year. Yet could she see even more shaved off? Read on for more details. Julie Chrisley coming home early, extreme possibility. It was not bad enough for the Chrisley family that Todd and Julie Chrisley were being sent away for a total of 19 years. They had also been sent to separate facilities. He headed to Pensacola, Florida, and Julie was off to Kentucky. Communication was an uphill battle as they could really only email with one another. Their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, shared that they would relay messages through her. She was the one who would emphasize to her parents how much they loved each other. It still has not been the same, and there was hope they would have their case heard again in March 2024. This is a rare situation, but it gave them some hope, and since then, both sentences have been reduced slightly. Of course, that is better than nothing, but it is now Julie who has the best chance of coming home even earlier. According to People, Savannah had her parents' lawyer on her podcast recently. Alex Little shared his thoughts on Julie's early exit and why it could happen. If she is re-sentenced in the summer or the fall of next year, I think her sentence should be substantially reduced. He added that some mistakes have been made when she was first sentenced, hence the re-sentencing. That being said, she may come home as soon as 2025, given a 3-year sentence. Exiting early. As aforementioned, Todd and Julie Chrisley will be leaving their prisons early. He is set to be released on January 22, 2033. That's close to 2 years prior to when he was supposed to exit. As for Julie, she is currently expected to leave Kentucky on October 19, 2028. Again, this could all change, but as Alex Little explained, no one wants false hope. Julie Chrisley had nearly resigned herself to the reality of serving every last day of her reduced sentence, now set to end in 2028. But inside the heavy walls of Federal Medical Center Lexington, where the routines were numbing and hope was a scarce commodity, whispers had begun to swirl. Rumors, speculation, and a surprising chain of recent events had many wondering, could Julie Chrisley be coming home much sooner than expected? The idea once seemed outlandish, but in recent months, the extreme possibility has begun to feel more plausible, at least to those who know how to read between the lines of shifting prison policy, quiet legal maneuvers, and the ever-changing winds of public opinion. It started subtly. Julie's name began surfacing in internal discussions about potential early release candidates. Individuals showing strong rehabilitation markers, stable mental health, and no disciplinary issues. Julie, ever the image of Southern poise, had taken to prison life with a kind of grace that made her stand out. She volunteered in the chapel, assisted elderly inmates with medical appointments, and even facilitated a support circle for women separated from their children. A recent Department of Justice pilot program, quietly introduced across select federal facilities, sought to identify inmates for compassionate release or advanced home confinement based on extraordinary family circumstances or demonstrable low risk to society. While the guidelines were stringent, Julie's case was flagged. The basis? Her rapidly deteriorating mother-in-law, Nanny Faye, whose health had taken a nosedive in recent months, and the instability it created for Julie's children, especially Grayson and Chloe. With Savannah balancing media obligations, custody duties, and her ongoing fight for prison reform, the argument was clear. The family unit desperately Savannah needed had gone its on the matriarch offensive, pushing the narrative in the media with surgical precision. Tearful interviews on national morning shows, passionate podcast segments, and op-eds pleading for understanding had recast Julie not as a convict, but as a mother torn from her family in their greatest time of need. Yet the biggest turn came from within the very prison walls. In April, an incident involving a senior guard had rocked FNC Lexington. A whistleblower leaked evidence of inappropriate behavior, intimidation tactics, and fabricated disciplinary write-ups meant to block inmates from early release consideration. The scandal forced an internal investigation, and Julie's record was scrubbed clean of a minor infraction that had previously disqualified her from consideration. Suddenly, her name was back on the list. Savannah, acting as both advocate and strategist, worked with a high-profile legal team to file for reconsideration under the Second Chance Act and the First Step Act. The legal brief was exhaustive and bold, highlighting Julie's cancer history, the evolving prison scandal, and her role as the stabilizing force of the Chrisley family. Within 72 hours, it had made its way to a senior federal judge in Kentucky known for his unconventional rulings and willingness to review post-conviction matters with empathy. Meanwhile, Todd Chrisley, incarcerated in Florida, was said to be in near disbelief. In his weekly email to Savannah, he wrote, "Is this real? I thought we'd lost all leverage. I've prayed every night. But I never thought the door would crack open." And yet, crack open it had. In early July, prison insiders reported a flurry of unusual activity around Julie's housing unit. She was pulled into multiple meetings with case managers. A medical review was conducted without a formal request. Staff were allegedly told to treat inmate Chrisley with courtesy and caution pending higher-level decisions. Even more telling, Julie received the sudden approval to contact her family for extended check-ins, far more time than the usual rationed minutes. Savannah, after a particularly long call, emerged from her podcast studio in tears. "I can't say what's coming," she told listeners, her voice cracking. "But we might finally be getting a piece of her back, and I'm trying to stay calm." Still, nothing was certain. The Bureau of Prisons had the authority to approve or deny release at the final hour. Even if the judge backed the request, it could languish in bureaucracy for weeks or months. And of course, the court of public opinion remained volatile. Some critics argued the Chrisleys were trying to manipulate the system, citing the seriousness of the financial crimes. Others, especially fans of the family's reality show, rallied behind Julie, flooding social media with hashtags like #BringJulieHome and #JusticeForJulie Chrisley. As July progressed, the walls of uncertainty began to buckle. By mid-month, Savannah was spotted entering a federal office building in Atlanta, accompanied by 2 attorneys and a representative from a national nonprofit focused on prison reform. A sealed motion was filed hours later. Then came the leak from someone close to the case. Julie had been given a conditional soft release approval pending one final review. Translation: if everything checks out, she could be released to home confinement as early as September. The extreme possibility was no longer just whispered about. It was moving fast toward reality. Inside the prison, Julie remained composed but guarded. She didn't want to get her hopes too high. She knew what it was like to be promised relief and feel it vanish just before the finish line. But she'd also started writing again, long letters to Todd, daily affirmations, even a journal she titled "When the Walls Come Down." In it, she wrote, "I don't know what's waiting for me or what scars I'll carry home. But if I get the chance to be there for my children again, to hold their hands, to see my mama, to walk out and breathe without someone watching, I'll count every hard day as worth it. I've been broken, but I'm not beyond repair." Whether Julie Chrisley walks free this fall or not, one thing is certain: the system is shifting. Her case has become a focal point in a larger national conversation about over-incarceration, family preservation, and second chances.